Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Avery, but I go by Soavecito, and I'm a horror content creator. Welcome to episode 59 of Whispers of Horror. We are so close to the big 6-0. I can't believe it. I can't believe I've made 60 episodes of Whispers. It's kind of wild. But we have an awesome guest, as in Evan Pinch. How are you today?
Man, I'm grateful to have been invited, and I think it's pretty cool that I'm that 59th slot right before that 60.
Hell yeah,
It's
yeah,
pretty
no,
cool.
I'm honored to have you. I think it's just awesome that people take their time out of their day to do something like this. You know, time is the most precious thing on this world, and I just want to say thank you for giving me your time to do this. So I'm excited to talk a little bit about horror. I'm excited to get to know you a little bit more, and just for our audience to see who Evan is.
Thanks for inviting me, man. Yeah, talking about having conversations about content and art goes back thousands of years. I mean, we have ancient theater plays from Greece,
Mm.
ancient paintings from the Renaissance. Art is important. It's important to us as humans. So, any chance to sit down, talk about, deliberate it, I'm grateful. Grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah, 100%. My first question is like, what got you into content creating?
Man, that's a good question. I think I'll turn up my volume here a bit. I think that I've kind of always been into content creation in some form. And I know a lot of people who make content kind of say stuff like that, but when I was a very young child, I was getting involved in my like dad's video editing software.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would do is and this is going to sound silly, but I think I was only like 10 years old. But I would take a camcorder that my dad had and I would record footage of Halo 3, and then I would put it on the computer and I would splice it together with like music and make trailers. It started with Halo 3, and then I started
Nice.
putting other trailers together. Um, and then from there, I got into writing and I started wanting to write books and novels, of which I've written several, none of which are published, but
Mm-hmm.
I went to college for an English degree with an emphasis in creative writing, and I actually have a bachelor's in English with an emphasis in creative writing and literature. And I loved talking about video games. I kept editing. I was in a band for like 10 years making deathcore music, metalcore music, I mean, horror stuff, similar to the kind of stuff you'd see in like horror movies, but a lot of horror visuals and imagery. And from the deathcore music, I just eventually wanted to start talking about video games, which were my original true passion.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really big into video essays. Shout out to people like Avalanche Reviews and Your Favorite Son, who've been on the channel.
Shout out to
And
them.
I was listening to them a lot, and I said, you know what, this is kind of all of my skills, because when I was in a band, I would direct and I would edit our music videos, which sucked, and you're not gonna see them. But I said, this is the video editing, this is video games, this is script, like essay writing, it's sound product, this is everything that I've been kind of learning over time all in one, and I'm gonna go for it. And that's kind of the long line and story of how I've always kind of been into content creation.
So it's kind of like in your blood at this point.
I think so. I think so. I don't know what I would do without it.
I have to ask, and I don't know. Sometimes this could be a deep question for people, or sometimes it could just be like a quick answer. But what does content creating mean to you? Like, what does it fulfill? Like when you are able to create something for the masses to enjoy.
Oh man, this might be kind of a depthy answer actually.
Listen,
I
we
actually
have an hour, so I just want to real quick before you answer. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a live podcast, so feel free to type in the comments any questions that you have for my beautiful guest, Evan, as we have this conversation, and I'll read it while I talk to this beautiful human being.
Absolutely, guys. Interact. Drop a comment. Let's see. Let's see. I see some of my homies in the chat already. Yeah. So I actually have kind of an entire like worldview philosophy on what it means to like create content, on what it means to create art. And there is I don't know if you're religious or not, but
Mhm.
I am religious, and there is a religious aspect to this answer. But it is fundamentally about content creation. So
Okay.
if you just humor me, obviously if you're not religious, just humor me on the idea of it, which is that if there was a creator that created existence and humanity in his image, and if we as humans exist in the image of that creator, it would only make sense that we would want to strive to emulate the actions of that creator, which is creation, right? So I coined this term. I call it creation energy. But if God, so to speak, the creator, the intelligent designer, worked hard and designed all of these different things utilizing this kind of creation energy, then when we as people, when we make art, when we tell stories, when we direct plays, you've heard the term art imitates life, right? And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes life imitates art. That is that is us kind of settling into our fundamental nature in a human way that emulates our original design intention. God creates, he's the creator, we are the creation made in the image of God, and so we then create. I refuse to believe that to be an optimal human is to wake up, eat, live, and die. I think to truly tap into a higher purpose of being as a human would be to tap into that kind of creation energy. I think it's easier for some people, but everybody wants to do it in some capacity. Even if you look at chefs, when they create, people who are very into cooking food, they don't just cook delicious food. It's very important to them how it looks. The presentation is judged, right? People who are really into cars, it's very important to them how the cars look. People who are very into comic books, into anything, all of it, they want it to reflect a certain, I guess I would say, skill set that they have acquired, and the capabilities that they want to demonstrate through that kind of creation. So content creation to me is that it's that higher purpose, tapping into that higher meaning and into kind of like who we are as humans is my answer.
I um that was beautiful. I think that was honestly a beautiful answer because it honestly made me really just take a second and really think of just like, yeah, like I agree. So I am a firm believer. I will say I am religious, but I'm a firm believer of predeterminism. I don't know if you know that term.
Predestination.
In a way, I guess that's another way of referencing it. I believe that our lives are made. Like, how do I explain this? I guess so.
Everything that will happen has
It's
already been set in stone to happen.
yes, yes, by the creator, like
Right.
because he knows when, God knows when you're gonna start, like when you're born to the minute you're gonna pass away, and your life is already predetermined in the whole universe, and we're going with like the earth and everything, and I just feel like we are exactly where we need to be at this exact moment, and like so like, and there's a reason for that. So when people are creating, like for me, like I feel like when I'm creating um just content in general, I just feel like that's my way of expressing myself. But I was meant to do this, I was meant to have this conversation with you to that like some of those like your ideologies is just like triggering the things that I'm thinking about too, and in a way
Yeah.
it's all connected and just a vast world of craziness. But um it's art to me too as well. Content creating is people's best efforts to express themselves in physically, emotionally, and mentally in different aspects, as in drawing, making videos, or just like designing something. We started with fire, and now we have computers being able to be on the internet
Change your lives.
forever. Yeah, like it's just hieroglyphic, just stuff like that. It's just like how throughout millenniums is how we got to this point. It's just too much for our minds to understand, which is where I know I'm rambling, chat, and everything like that, but it's
It's
just
good.
like,
And he's well said.
yeah, it's just I love that question. I really do, because it's just I
It's a
get
great question.
so many different perspectives on what it means to somebody and how they love it. Or I could just tell from speaking to you how passionate you are about content creating, and kind of leads into my other next question is like, did you start when you started actually content creating, did it become, oh, I want to make videos, oh, I want to do, like, did you start with YouTube, or did you start with something else?
That's another great question. It actually started when I was a young kid. I'm talking like maybe 9 or 10. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to make video games. Unsurprisingly, I thought that that was kind of one of the highest forms of art that you could achieve because it kind of embodies everything. It's
Mm-hmm.
got music, it's got story, it's got interactivity, it's got visuals, it's got set pieces, it's got acting, it's got a little bit of everything that I really loved at the time. But making video games the way that I wanted to make them would have costed way more money than I would have been able to conceivably have. So I in a kind of an act of desperation, I started just doing whatever I could. I wrote a few books, and then I got into writing music, and I wrote a couple albums. Um, and then I moved more into it being in the band. I started doing like music videos where I would tell stories through the music videos, very low
Mm-hmm.
budget, cheap. And I just more and more trying to do whatever I could as a means of telling stories because I love all of the different. I love art, I love content creation, but really what I love is storytelling, right? So I've interacted with other I would call them kindred spirits who are into art in a more visual sense. They love like art design, graphic design, comic books. I've talked to developers who love designing, gameplay, level design. I'm one who is very much so focused on the storytelling. I get most excited about characters, themes, philosophy, arcs, narratives, things that fit into that realm, and everything else is just the vehicle for that to me,
Mm-hmm.
right? So obviously, I'm currently learning, teaching myself how to use Godot. I had to teach myself how to use Blender. I want to get more into indie game design.
Okay.
I'm working on a novel that I plan to actually release this time. This one, because I think it'll finally be good enough where I can be like, okay, I want to release this. That hopefully be out this year. Um, different avenues of storytelling, but that's the thing that was driving me. Even as a kid, I wanted to tell stories. I was obsessive about Greek mythology. I was really into even older storytelling like Sherlock Holmes.
Mm-hmm.
And my favorite stuff was video games. Grand, epic, operatic, like the Halo narratives, or even more close and personal stuff like, I mean, Whispers of Horror, like Silent Hill,
Mm-hmm.
Dead Space, all of that. But it's the narrative for me. It's the story, it's the philosophy, things of that nature. That's what drove me to want to do it.
Yeah, so I've had like your favorite son and Avalanche reviews, I compare you guys to like legitimately narrators. You know, like if some because like some games have it, sure, but just the way you guys are able to tell the game from beginning to end, and just the pieces that are not even sometimes it's not even part of the game, but just the development of how they are going through the process of making something, and just the extra effort you guys put into to tell the full story, because the game only tells you from what they want you to see. Like it kind of like whispers too, you know. This gives people the opportunity. Like they might only see your videos and just not like know your face or hear just only know you by your voice, especially because you have the gameplay as well, or just talking about it. But it gives you just a more in depth of just the game in general, or just and it's just a lot of people for me, like I just love being able to hear that, and just like it's something that you could put in the background and then just
Oh yeah.
enjoy. That's a big for me too. Like just like when I'm driving, when I'm showering, whatever. It's just something that it's like, oh, I really love this game, Dead Space. And this person is just going from the beginning, and I play. Even though I played it, it's your own perspective, but also telling the story. So I shout out to you guys for putting the time and effort to doing that type of stuff.
That is something that's kind of interesting, isn't it? Because there are games that I have beaten multiple times that I will see a video of somebody talking about it. I'm like, I have already played the game. I know
Hmm.
all of the plot points and everything, but I still want to hear this person just talking about it. You know, what's up
Yeah.
with that? We can fall so in love with certain stories that it's like I've probably seen I've probably seen like 12 or 13 different creators' iterations of a Silent Hill retrospective at this point. You know what I mean?
But
Because
they're all,
everybody's done it.
but they're all
It's
different.
almost like a rite of passage.
Yeah.
Right, they are, and it almost doesn't matter like how many people talk about it every time I listen. Like a lot of it's the same, but I'll pick up on little different things. Like, oh, that's kind of different. That's interesting. It's just it goes back to how important the art is, man. Like Silent Hill is a great example. It's so just well done. I can listen to so many different people talk about it, and every time I'm just locked in while I'm got it on in the background. Like half of my brain is just focused on that while I'm doing something else.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think it's just mainly the perspectives, because great example, like you said, Silent Hill, that could be perceived 10 different ways because everybody is different, but again, like it still all comes together and you still can hear that. And like you said, you could play the Silent Hill from beginning to end and know everything about it, but because you listen to a certain person, you're like, oh, I never thought about it like that. Oh, I might have missed that when I played it. But you could do it in the background, like in the background of things. Yes, because you know the story, but again, it's somebody else telling it, and that is what makes it interesting for me. When I listen to you guys do the videos you guys do. How long does it take to do one of your videos, like a retrospective or just talking about, and how much research do you put into making them?
That okay, so that actually kind of varies depending on the video and the game and also the creator. So I've talked to, believe it or not, me, your favorite son, and Avalanche, since we keep referencing them, all have pretty different ways of going about it.
Mm-hmm.
For me, and I'm actually changing up my process a lot to make it take less time. But previously, it would take me about 2 weeks of straight work, 7 days a week, to put out I would say, hour 15 average, which could range from an hour to an hour 45 minute, but an hour 15 average long retrospective of a game, it would take me about 2 weeks of work because you
Okay.
have to factor in playing through the game, potentially having to play through it a second time if it's warranted, doing the research, which typically involves watching clips behind the scenes, referencing multiple different wiki sites. You never want to just do one. I tend to find the primary Wikipedia, a fandom wiki, hopefully a secondary fandom wiki if they exist, cross-reference. Your favorite son goes so far as like buying behind the scenes books and whatnot and actually reading them and cross-referencing it. You
Mm-hmm.
have to factor in thumbnail creation. Script writing takes the most time. So whenever I was really in a zone, a script would take me a solid week of work.
Oh wow.
Like wake
Okay.
up, work on a script. And I'm someone who's been writing essays. Like I went to college and got an English degree. You know what I mean? Like it's hard work. It's really
Mm-hmm.
not easy to crank out a script. But that's not even the worst part. The worst part, and any of them will tell you this, is recording the voiceover.
I was just
Because it
about to
takes,
ask about that.
yeah, it takes forever, and it's just it's not a fun time at all. And then with me, I actually produce my voiceovers.
Oh
So I
wow.
record my voice. Yeah, I recorded my voiceovers into FL Studio, and I go in and I manually cut out all of the silence in between so that it's just kind of a straight consent. And that's why I keep getting accused of doing AI voice, which is crazy. I do not use AI for my voice in my videos, but the reason
Mm-hmm.
people think that is because I cut out the silences and I cut out the errors in my voiceovers. So everything is smooth, everything is continuous. You don't hear stops and breaths. It's particularly not in my later videos. And then I'll run it through some EQ chains and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I used to do it. I've actually changed that up. Now I'm experimenting with a new formula. I've only done it for one video, and then another that's out, and then another video I'm working on right now, where I just sit down in front of a camera. I don't have a script. I have an outline, and I riff for like 3 or 4 hours, and then I edit that together. I've had varied results with that method. We may be going back to the old one, but we'll see. The answer is it takes about 2 weeks for a video.
I I'm not gonna lie. So I wrote that down on this piece of paper because that's something I really struggle with when I when it comes to making videos, like I stutter pretty badly just because I know what I want to say, but then just all these thoughts come in my mind, and I'm just like, wait a minute. It's like I know what I want to say, but there's just the words never come out the way I want to. Hence why I do this live, ladies and gentlemen. So sometimes I get off track from my point, and then I try to come back to it. Sometimes I just say the word 1,000 times and just stutter, but I don't try to shy from that. I try to show people that, even with the stuff that I struggle with, I still feel like I can be a content creator. I look at the difficulties that I have and try to overcome them no matter what, and I still can be one no matter what. So like, again, we're human at the end of the day. But I think that's all a creative idea of just going off rift for 3 to 4 hours and just talking and just making it into one editable video. Like I think that's a good.
Yeah.
Maybe I could try something like that. I might take that advice. You might not even meant to make it advice, but that idea just
I
like
didn't, but yeah,
yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Methodology. It's a new. I got the inspiration from Wendigo,
Yeah.
another horror creator who I was watching a video on, and I noticed that his video was way less produced than my videos. Way more casual. He's just in front of a camera. He's clearly just riffing for most of it. He's clearly reading off of an outline. It's not word for word like I used to do. And I thought to myself, I was like, man, that seems like it'd be so much easier and quicker. And so far, I actually today finished up editing just the camera, like the on-camera riffing portion, into a final video for this next video that I'm working on. And I will tell you, I've done 2 videos that way, and I've had a 50-50 experience with them, because the first time was really easy and went really smooth. The second time was hell, because the editing of the video, I kept making so many mistakes. I kept not knowing what I was going to say. I kept messing up words mid-sentence, and the editing process of going through yourself repeating the same sentence like 13 times was making me want to shove my head through this wall right here.
That was specific wall, okay.
This particular one. So
I get it.
I've had a 50-50 experience on it. I'm gonna try it for probably another couple of videos and see how it pans out. The first one, smooth, easy, really great experience. The second one, hell. But the reason for that is because I sat down last Monday and I recorded the whole thing. It was almost a 4-hour endeavor of just talking. And then as soon as I wrapped up, I realized my mic had been muted for the entire thing. And it took me 3 days of trying to do it again. And I was so depleted that at one point I just like yelled, I yelled, I'm just canceling it. I'm not going to do a video on this game. I'm done with it. I'm not doing it. And the next day I was like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to force myself to do it. But then having to redo the whole video like that, and I can even tell when I was editing the footage today, I was like, I can tell that I'm not as enthusiastic about this, even when I'm trying to pretend to be, because the whole time I'm like, I lost that better version because my mic was muted the entire time. So that you got to double check. And whenever I was doing a more produced version, that would not have happened because I listen back as I do it.
When it comes to like some of the adversities that you experience as far as your mic being off, you just like did probably 4 hours of just majestic talking, and you just realized, I believe it, to realize it's not working. Like, what does that do to your mental? Have you ever gotten to the point where you're like, I don't know if I want to do this content creator thing? How did you overcome it? How did you overcome some of that stuff?
Multiple times, actually, I've gotten to that point, and this was just another instance of that. This would have been last week, probably 2 days in a row, whenever I was trying to sit down and re-record the thing that I had lost, and it just wasn't happening. It wasn't coming, man. I was sitting down, I would start it, I would record for like 15 minutes, and I would realize I can't do this. I just cannot. And I would sit down, and I would start having thoughts of, I don't even know if I want to make videos anymore. I don't even know if I want to. And then I start tossing up ideas. It's like, I have an English degree, maybe I do something else. It's it's one of those things. There really, maybe there's tools, like psychological tools, that you can use to kind of bring yourself back down to earth. But really, the thing that I found is you just gotta you gotta take like a couple hours. You gotta just say the things that you want to say to yourself. Maybe I won't do it. Maybe I'll do something else. You gotta think about it. You gotta go to sleep. You gotta wake up the next day and be like, all right, well now, how do I feel now?
Mm-hmm.
That's the key. You got to wake up the next day and be like, okay, now how do I feel now? I said the things, I played with the ideas, I pondered the failures, I pondered the other options. I went to sleep. I'm up now. Having a morning routine, like, people make fun of that, but it actually helps a lot. Like, that's a whole other thing that we don't have to get into, because people, like, they make fun of that and stuff. But like, having a morning routine actually is like a crutch for me at this point. You get up, you kind of do a morning routine, you go to the gym, you come back, you sit down, you're like, how do I feel now? And then typically I feel like I want to keep doing content.
Okay. I was gonna say something when you said like that morning routine, and
Mm-hmm.
it embodies discipline.
Yeah.
And that's something that I just, for some reason, when I feel like I don't want to do something, I just tell myself, just get it done. And that is, you sometimes you got to do the things you don't want to do to get the results you want at the end of the day. And I respect that, because, like you said, it's a whole nother topic of just morning routines. But because this is Wishes for Horse, I want to get into that. Like, how important is your that morning routine to set up your day, knowing that it's a schedule that you stick by, and it helps you get through the day? Like, how important is that to you?
It's important enough that the morning routine is one of the number one, like, things that comes to my mind when I think about maybe I'll stop doing content creation. I'll just go get a different career or job or something.
Mm-hmm.
Remembering how badly I want to keep my morning routine is the thing that keeps me like, no, I got to keep doing content creation, because I lean on it, man. It is so important to me. And I don't keep it as strictly as you would think I do based on how I'm talking about it. I'm actually pretty loose with it typically. But waking up around the same time, taking my dog on a walk, hitting the gym, and then typically on most days I walk out of the gym and I read for about 15-20 minutes. I'm reading through the Ian Fleming 007 James Bond novels. Big 007 fan. I'm really excited for the new game, First Light, that's coming out next year.
I'm excited about that one too.
Oh yeah, it looks dope. I come back, and then I take my first shower, and then I read a little bit of scripture. I do some journaling. I come in, and then I work until lunch. I stop, and then that's my first meal of the day is my lunch. I have my typical lunch that I normally eat is 4 eggs, a couple of spoonfuls of yogurt, and an English muffin. Part of that is because I like to try to eat clean, but the other part of it is just because I don't have a lot of money. And that's a nice, affordable, budget-friendly meal. And then from there, I do have a routine. I walk my dog every day around 5 o'clock. I set certain things, like typically the early morning work. I like to do stuff that's a little less intense. So thumbnail, workshopping. I'll work on some thumbnails. I'll do a little bit of like research for video, things of that nature. It's normally the afternoon portion that I do the heavier, the deeper work, script writing, outlining, video, like recording, things of that nature. But I say this as someone who only started doing a morning routine type deal this year, because last year it was just chaos. It was just wake up when you woke up, do as much as you could in the day, whenever you could figure out when to do it, eat whenever the time. I was eating at random times throughout the day. I was going to sleep at random times, anywhere from 12 to 4 or 5 in the morning.
Jeez.
I was just sleeping whenever I would sleep. It was hell. It was hell. And you really appreciate the relief of the morning routine after you've lived a year of pure chaos. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you're preaching. Like, you're preaching.
Yeah.
I have a daughter, so I'm pure chaos. I like in the Batman Bane. I was born in it. I know. I for sure know.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I can 100% attest with what you're saying. It's just for me, I can't function. Like I have a whiteboard that has every like Whispers horror episode. Like for me, I have to write everything down, or tell my wife, "Hey, listen, you need me to do things around the house. Write it down as a list." My boss, write it down as a list. I will get it done because I can focus on something that is physically in front of me, and it's like itinerary. I do the same thing for myself. I write, okay, get up. I got like a $200 planner. It's called Franklin, Franklin planner, and I literally write, get up, feed the cats, shower, like, and I just follow, and it puts my mind at peace. And so I 100% feel what you're saying, and it's just funny because like that's why I asked about it because I literally do the same thing. Does it go perfectly? No, it doesn't. But again, like when your life is just all over the place and you're trying to just quiet down the noise, and you realize that, oh my God, it's just so much easier when you're like, okay, one step at a time instead of going, I'm gonna run a mile and not know how to run.
Can't do it.
100%. When it comes to, you kind of brought up some of the things that you do when you're not content. Like you read. Is there anything else that you do when you're not making content that you enjoy?
Yeah. Well, my favorite. You're talking about casual or like
Yeah.
related?
It could just when it's not doing when it's not with content.
Okay.
So like it could be work related, anything that you could think of.
My favorite non-work related thing to do is spend time with my girlfriend. Anything I can figure out to do, I will try to make up excuses to go to like Trader Joe's or drive to some grocery store, or I'll try to figure out excuses or ways that I can get us to like go and do something, get out of the house and spend time with her. Watch a movie, watch a TV show. There she is. She's peeking her head in the door right now. She heard me talking about it.
Quick shout out to the missus. Shout out to the missus. Yeah. I see how you glowed up when you started talking about her. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's probably my favorite non-work related thing to do. We have recently been playing a couple of games together. I'm kind of getting her into that world. Horror games, actually. We played Until Dawn.
Nice.
She really liked it. Doing some of the Dark Pictures anthology games together. She's enjoying those. Yeah, it's a good time. That's probably my favorite non-work related thing to do.
Now, how is it balancing, like, your content, work related, as like life to your casual hobby and your like significant other life? Like, how do you now balance like work versus personal life? Do you find a good balance, or do you think it's something that you're working on, or you're struggling with it?
Definitely something I'm working on.
Okay.
There's sometimes a struggle with it, but I think anybody will tell you that that's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, for sure.
Imperfect world kind of thing we're dealing with. But it's a struggle. But I think the main thing is, it's a law of physics. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. This is something this is like a realization I had, I think last week or earlier this week. That's a real, like, Isaac Newton. I'm pretty sure it was Isaac Newton that said every action has an equal opposite reaction. So if you think about that on an energetic level, if you're trying to do big things, if you're trying to do great things, if you're trying to build a channel, if you're trying to make a big video, you're trying to tap into like a big action.
It's like cause and effects.
I've noticed.
Cause and effects, and choices and consequences.
You're going to bring about some negative reactions that you're going to have to deal with. And this is something I think I was saying either earlier today or yesterday. The trick, a lot of people become obsessive with trying to mitigate those negative reactions, trying to mitigate potential disasters. I don't know if you can really do that. I think the real trick is learning how to navigate them, not mitigate them, because they're going to happen. And when it comes to maintaining that balance, you just accept it. You say there's no way you go into a knife fight without getting cut.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. So you say, all right, it's just going to happen. There's going to be complicated times. There's going to be times where things don't work out the way that you wanted them to. There's going to be times where bad things happen that were unexpected and you have to deal with them. Hell, my channel got hacked like a month
I
ago, and I
heard.
was in anxiety hell for like 3 or 4 days in a row.
Hmm.
You, I did not navigate that super well, by the way. But the trick that I'm still trying to be aware of and learn is don't try to focus as little on mitigating potential negative outcomes. Try to focus on achieving the positive outcomes and being capable of navigating the equal and opposite negative reactions to the great things you're trying to do.
Can I just say you are very well spoken. Like you are very
Thank you.
educated, and I can tell like you're very knowledgeable. And
It's very kind.
I'm very like I'm very interested in what you have to say. Like I just want to put that out there. Like you are very. I'm excited for you to be my guest. Like this has been a great conversation. We didn't even talk about horror, and we're already 38 minutes into this conversation, which
There's
I'm
still
gonna
time.
100%. I'm gonna transition to it, but I just wanted to give you that compliment because you carry yourself very well, and you should flaunt it, and so kudos to you.
Would you believe I was homeschooled?
Really? No, I think that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I was homeschooled all the way up until college.
Wow.
Very,
Wow.
very knowledgeable parents too, though. That's credit to them, not me.
That's incredible. Actually, one of viewers says, "I agree. He's very well spoken. You're a very well spoken human being. So shout out to your parents.
Appreciate.
I
Thank you.
think that's
Thank you.
truly amazing. So we're gonna transition to a beautiful topic, horror.
Yeah, time to talk about dark, gross
Yeah,
dismemberment. So
the cool
let's
thing,
do
the
some of
cool thing
that.
about Whispers of Horror is just like it's unpredictable. It's a horror podcast, but it's more of getting to know people. But still, there is horror to be talked about, ladies and gentlemen. Just had to throw that out there. So, what got you into it? Like, what you said you like horror? Like, what is the first thing that like movie, show, book? Like, what is the first thing that you experienced when it came to horror or experience, and that got you
Video
hooked?
games.
Video
It
games,
was video
okay.
games and it was Dead Space. Actually, first off, it was video games, specifically Dead Space, that got me into it, and it was a different video game later down the line that helped me realize how important it was. And I'll get to that one in just a quick second. I can
Sure.
talk about Dead Space just for a second. Dead
Oh,
Space is one of my favorite video games of all time, and I remember this when I was much younger, maybe like 11 or 12. I was always kind of scared of messing with horror games. I liked Halo, I liked shooters and climactic
sure.
action, but I wanted to try something different, and I had just enough money to buy Dead Space. It was 2008, because it was shortly after that game came out, because I remember spending $60 on it.
I
And I bought
remember.
Dead Space for the 360, and I played it for the first time. And at first, I was real trepidatious about it. I remember I was sure that it was going to scare me. I was sure that it was going to freak me out. So I played 30 minutes of it being ready to be scared, and then I turned it off. I was like, oh, this is scary. And then I came back and I was like, okay, I'm going to just play a little bit more of it and try to put some headway into it. And I played for like 4 hours, and I
Okay.
realized I wasn't scared at all.
Okay.
I had hyped myself up into thinking that I was going to be scared of it, but actually I was just enthralled by it. I was excited by how interesting the characterization of the ship, the Ishimura, was, the text logs, the weird cryptic religion, like the mutagen of the necromorph, like alien stuff. All of that was so interesting to me
Hmm.
that I forgot that I was supposed to be scared. I was just so interested and compelled by the nature of the game and the way that it told its story. And that actually
Hmm.
transitions to why I was going to say horror is so important. The thing about horror is that I think when you make a piece of horror art to be horrific, I think most of the time that ends up missing the mark. It ends up either being campy or cheesy or silly, because the real power of horror is not to horrify. It's not to scare people, although that's what people think. The real beauty of horror is that it acts as a disclaimer. It sets an expectation that, look, you might see dismemberment, you might see gore, you might see things that are horrific or uncomfortable. Can we all agree everyone's okay with that? Okay, now we can actually take seriously what it might look like if someone got into a really horrific situation. So
Interesting.
if you look at most, if you look at like most modern movies, or even older movies or older video games, they do everything in their power to neuter or nullify the effect of some of the things they're showing, some of the actions that they're depicting, because they don't want to horrify the viewer. That's not good. You know, if you depict somebody being shot with a 50 caliber rifle or something like that, they're not going to just they're not just going to bleed out. It's going to blow half their body off. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a horrific thing.
Yeah.
And the reason horror is so important is because it opens a door to say, hey, look, we're covering this topic, but we're taking it seriously enough, and we're taking you seriously enough to actually give you a chance to see what this is, what it would look like. And I'm kind of echoing some of the sentiments that came from the project lead of a video game called Soma. Are you familiar with Soma?
Oh, I love Soma. I'm scared of the ocean, and I've never beat it because of that reason. But Soma is amazing. I hate the little underwater. I can't do it.
Oh, that's such a good game.
I watch people play
it. That's Frictional Games. They did the Amnesia games, and
love them.
I remember how I was really excited about Soma. And I was reading an interview from the project lead where he was talking about why. I could probably find this. It's a written interview, but I was reading this interview with the project lead of that, where he talked about the reason Soma was so important to him was that between Amnesia and The Dark Descent and the production on Soma, he had realized that they were not taking advantage of the horror medium. He said with Amnesia, The Dark Descent, we explored some interesting themes, but we were just trying to freak the player out. He said with Soma, we are realizing that the actual beauty of horror is that it is a vehicle with which everyone is agreeing to allow themselves to be presented with topics that they otherwise would not consider. They wouldn't want to hear it. But when you say, okay, we're agreeing that this is horror, they're saying, okay, now I'm ready to talk about and be shown things that I would otherwise say, don't show me that. And that's why the story of Soma is actually one of the scariest stories. That is that existential darkness, you know, things that are much scarier than like a slasher villain. That's horror, but it's not the kind of deep horror that says it's the sincerity of it. I don't want to play a game or watch a movie where I can tell they are nullifying something in order to get a rating. That's really unfortunate when I can recognize that. Because some of the best horror material isn't gory or scary. It's just serious. You know what I'm saying? That's why I love horror.
You don't know how happy I am of your answer. You have no idea, because that was the best answer I've heard in a long time, and it's so true. I feel like horror is being censored, and it's not something that should be censored, because the censor is before you play the game. There's warnings that say, you know, hey, you might see this, but if you accept these terms, we're gonna show you to the full extent what you are experiencing, because you open that door. You know, like living is horror. Like, there's so many terrible things, and it's just people are trying to downplay it to make it more acceptable to the public, which is incorrect, because it's not. It's the word is horror. Like, it's not supposed to be something that it's supposed to make you uncomfortable. It's supposed to be unnerving, like things that we don't want to happen, but this is what it is. And I as much as I love all of these games and everything like that, it just breaks my heart that there's so much more potential that they can do, but because the masses, and they don't want to upset the public, they are striving around them. Because like Itch, I don't know if you heard about Itch and Steam, that breaks my heart. Vile exe, like they are taking away people's art and the hard work and the dedication. And this is why I believe Whispers of Horror is important, because it shows the level of heart that these people put into their games to be taken away because it's deemed not appropriate. It's just a slap to the face. And it's just like, why are we doing this when it's something that is around the whole world and we deal with it on a daily basis? It's just mind-boggling, and for me, I kind of want to transition to the next question, and you kind of answered it, which beautiful answer. Is what is your definition of the word horror? Like, what is your own perspective? Like, I know you kind of touched it, but like, if you can elaborate a little bit more into your own perspective, like, what is horror to for you?
You mean as a genre for storytelling or a genre for like content creation? What
No,
is horror?
not even that aspect. Just like in just general, like when you hear the word horror, like where does your mind go? Like what is your ideology of it? Like what is your own definition?
That's a much harder question for me to answer. I actually
As best as you
the
could.
only way I think yeah, the only way I think I could answer that is by almost with a non-answer, and I'll explain what I mean. I'm not
Oh
the kind of
shit, we're gonna
person.
PR answer, and I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, that's not what I mean. I'm actually just the way that I am personally. I don't like personal definitions.
Okay, fair.
Um,
I get that.
it could be that I'm autistic or something, but they make it hard for me to navigate conversations or function
Hmm.
because if I'm talking about horror and you're talking about horror and you're talking about 80s movie slasher Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, which is totally horror, you
Hmm.
know, but I'm talking about the stuff we were just going over. We're not talking about the same thing. We're having two different conversations,
Yeah.
and that's why personal definitions get murky. I don't have a personal if somebody actually asked me that, I would look up the dictionary
Yeah.
definition. I would give it to them and say this fits either. uh,
Wait,
I don't really.
could I
Go ahead.
could I give you example like what I mean? Like, can I give you my answer?
Please.
Yeah, yeah, no, no,
Yes,
no, for sure, for
please.
sure. And also like you feel free, you do not have to answer any questions like that you don't want to. Like this is a
No,
open, yeah,
I'm not. I'm
yeah,
not.
no, no, no.
I'm trying to give you the best answers I
Of
can.
course, of course. So for me, like I guess what my definition or like what horror when I hear the horror, what does that mean to me or just what I think of it? My own perspective is that feeling of like being put into a scenario or a situation or an environment that subconsciously triggers your primitive instincts for flight or fight. So, get like for like example, like the movie Saw, like you
It's my favorite horror movie, actually.
that's one of my favorites, and I think Saw is the perfect vision. If I saw the dictionary and I looked up horror movie, I think Saw is the perfect thing. The reason why
I
is
agree.
because it shows you a person waking up in a situation where they only have two choices. They have to either fight for their life, doing whatever it takes, or they have to try to flee and try to escape, or try not, or go with the punches and become a prey. Like it's like versus predator versus prey in a way. But again, it's something that like activates our primitive instincts subconsciously, like our hair on the back of our neck standing up, our eyes dilating, our heart rate beating. That is what horror truly is to me, the fear of the unknown, which is the situation, was being put in something that makes us uncomfortable, where we feel like nothing else matters. We become beasts. We literally become animals. It's either we're gonna fight for our life or we're gonna try to run away and try to survive the next day. That's the best way I can explain it.
That's a good explanation.
Thank you.
I was getting images, and it's probably just because I played it somewhat recently, but I was getting images of the first Outlast game, which is one
Mm.
of my favorite
Yeah, that's a
horror
good.
games.
Yeah,
Yeah, big fan of the Outlast, the first two Outlast games.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a great explanation.
Thank you. That's kind of what I meant, like when it comes to that. But the reason why I asked that question is I've done 59 episodes or 50, yeah, 59 episodes of this, and everybody's perspective or everybody's answer has always been different, but also comes together with even my answer. So that's why I
Yeah,
asked, because I want to see what everybody else's perspective. So like, you would be the 59th.
yeah, interesting. Yeah, most people would probably just think extreme,
Sure.
extreme tension, gore. Taking it the extra step tends to be. Uh, that's what most people I think when they think horror. They think, oh,
Mhm.
it's gonna be bloody. It's gonna depict extreme violence of some kind.
Mhm.
It's just a lot of extremism. What's your favorite like horror product?
Are you talking about like movies or show, like, or anything in
And
general?
like you got to have some horror thing that's like your grail. You think like that's my horror thing.
Can I show you? I
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
have
Let's do
something.
it.
I bet.
I got to see it.
I am a big component or big fan Do you know what this book?
Is that the Necronomicon?
It's a Necronomicon. It is a
Oh my
handmade Necronomicon, and Evil Dead is one of my favorite things. Favorite just movie, game, whatever. Just I actually, when I was in school in college, I wrote a paper, like a PowerPoint of the Evil Dead franchise with oh my god, why am I blanking? Bruce Campbell and Romney, Sam Romney, and
Raimi, yeah.
Raimi. Sorry, I apologize. Which I would love to interview them. That's one of my biggest dreams, and I'm going to get there.
Goals.
So goals for sure. But that movie, for some reason, I felt like they didn't hold back. I feel like they and I appreciate it. And it literally, when I watched it, it made me stay up all night. And it's just like, I actually felt, even though how crazy and just like over the top it was, it just fear. I was naturally scared where I actually had a tear coming out down my eye. And I felt petrified of like just certain scenes, like the woman's taking a pencil and just pulling the tendons from his Achilles. It's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that they didn't hold anything back, and it activated something that I didn't know I had in me, you know. And just watching something like that, it's just like somebody having or directing something that powerful to make me feel those emotions, I had to throw flowers to. And even now, like, I'm not, you can't even see, I literally got goosebumps just talking about it. And it's just like, that is just so, that's why I love content creating and people who do it, because it's so powerful. It can affect people in so many different ways, in a positive and sometimes a negative way. It's just creation of something is so powerful, and I love it. I really do.
Well put. That's a crazy book to just have lying around.
I actually found it. You know what's funny? I found it. My birthday was August 3rd, and I went to this store. Shout out to Curioporium, and it was like a haunted store. And I was like, okay, bet, it's my birthday. I just want to find something. And I was looking through. Everything was for sale in this, and I opened one drawer, and I saw it. I had to have it, and it's just like it was just meant to be. And it's like, what you're telling me? My favorite movie or favorite franchises of all time, and somebody made a handmade book of the Necronomicon. You can't make that up. I said, I don't care how much it, I said, I don't care how much it is. Like, just take my money. I need to have this in my room. But yeah, it's just like, I love stuff like that can make me feel something, and I feel like sometimes it misses the mark, but sometimes when it does hit, it's beautiful, man. It's art.
Yeah. I mean, that goes way back to the thing we were talking about at the beginning, you know, with the creation energy and the feeling of longing to create. Like, the world's a dark place, and there are dark parts of it. There's dark aspects. There are horrific things, and it wouldn't be very honest if we didn't sometimes acknowledge the realities of that, the darker parts of the human existence with through exploration of the horror medium.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have any fears?
Do I have any fears?
Yeah, like actual fears.
Probably more like esoteric ones. I don't think I have any like fun phobias or anything. I'm not like scared of heights or spiders. I used to be kind of scared of snakes, but I think I got over that after a while. No, not I mean, my fears are like the most reasonable. I'm afraid of like getting in a car accident, being paralyzed.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like that freaks me out. I'm afraid of having some incredible thing happen that would like ruin my life forever. But I don't think I have any phobias or irrational fears. At least not yet. Maybe some traumatic thing will happen that'll give me one.
Interesting. No,
I think too late.
No, listen. Like for me, I'm afraid of the ocean, and that's my biggest thing. But like again, it's just okay to like have nothing.
It's probably pretty rational fear though. The ocean's scary.
Yeah. I've seen just one video of an anglerfish swimming up, and they belong at the bottom of the ocean, and so I don't need to know. I'm okay. I my feet belong on land.
Not a big Subnautica fan, huh?
Yeah, no, I don't play those games. Somehow I played Still Weeks the Deep and Soma, and I tried a little of Subnautica, and I regret every decision I've ever did.
Did you see that one where you're like in a submarine the whole time? I think it's a David Szymanski game, and it's Markiplier's doing like the movie on it. It's
Is
like
it
the Ocean
Iron
of
Lung?
Blood, and yeah, did you play that one?
Nope, and there's a reason why.
That's like your
Okay.
quintessential horror game, man. Like that's your mountain to climb is Iron Lung.
Yeah, did you not hear the part of me being afraid of the like are we just gonna
Gotta
skip over the
conquer the
part?
fear, man.
Nah.
That's content right there.
Exactly why I'm not gonna ever play that game. I'll make it an incentive for people to make me get there.
I can see it now, dude. 2-hour video retrospective. I have a deep fear of the ocean, so I played the scariest ocean game. Hell yeah.
All right, I think I'll do that. Fingers crossed. I got a few more questions for you, if you don't
Sure,
mind.
man.
Before, because we are hitting almost an hour. It's crazy. I love these episodes because it flies by, man. Time is crucial, ladies and gentlemen. 86,400 seconds in a whole day, and that's actually a fact. And every second you spend is so crucial. I tell people I'm appreciative when people give me that time. You gave me an hour, and I'm just honored. Like you have no idea. Like this, I've learned so much from this conversation that I'm gonna, after we get off, I'm gonna just start thinking. I'm like, damn, like I gotta refine my schedule. I gotta like, that's the first thing I thought
Gotta
of.
play Iron Lung.
Yeah. I got like, and you just like the idea of just like doing 3 to 4 hours, and maybe I could do a retrospective. I don't know. You gave me some like new confidence, and I appreciate that. It's just the energy transfer. It's just like it's wild.
That's why conversation's important. That's why we are social beings.
Yeah, Lone Shark. Yeah, we're not gonna talk about that. Yeah, there's another horror game. You should check it out. Called Lone Shark, and I think it's phenomenal. It's an indie by an indie dev that just recently comes out. You basically buy a boat with a loan shark's money, and the loan shark calls and says, "Hey, where's my money?" And you gotta collect fish to pay back the loan shark. But it goes further than that. It's actually like the name of the game has so much meaning. I'm not. That's all I'm gonna say.
Fire.
It's
Cool.
one of my favorite
Thanks
games.
for putting me onto that.
100%. In the next 5 years, and we will actually in the next year. I don't want to do 5 years anymore. I want to say next
12
year,
months.
next 12 months. What is your ideal vision or goals that you would like to accomplish?
I have several things I would like to have accomplished in the next 12 months. I would love to be married in the next 12 months. I would love to have a book out. I'm working on this sci-fi book. It's very, very pulpy, but I'm sci-fi is my thing. Like I love
Okay.
horror, but sci-fi is the thing I'm obsessed with. I can't.
I want to read
I'm
it.
Actually,
Let me know
yeah.
when you publish it. I would love to read it. I love sci-fi as well.
Yeah, can't get enough sci-fi. So I want to have this sci-fi book I've been writing. I want to have that released. I would love to be at like 50 to 75,000 subscribers. That would be dope. Those are my biggest goals right now. Get married, release this book, 50 to 75K.
And this is gonna go over a lot of people's head, but the first one you said, it just shows like how much you love your significant other. Like you could have said like, oh yeah, 50, 70,000, get married. No, you always like every time you speak about her, it just always on the top, and I appreciate that because like I shout out to my wife too, who takes care of my daughter too, and when I'm like working and stuff. Because none of this could happen without her. It's just so important to have somebody that support whenever you are trying to accomplish something or just like have that puzzle piece, that last puzzle piece. And I hope I can't wait for you guys to get married. That's awesome.
Me either.
It's a beautiful feeling. I'm telling you, for sure. But those are all
At
achievements.
some point, we want to move. Actually, at some point, we want to move somewhere. We live in Florida right now.
Okay.
I know both of us want to move somewhere cold. Would love to move somewhere cold with snow. I don't know if that's a next 12 months goal.
Okay.
But That's up there. I
You
want to go
want
somewhere
snow.
cold. I
Um,
want snow.
well, I live in the Northeast. We get plenty of snow, and I take as much snow as you want. Like I can tell you right now.
I'm sure. I'm sure its grass is always greener, man. But I've spent my entire life in humidity and
I feel
heat,
that. I feel
and
that. I feel that.
I'm about to turn 30. I
Oh,
could
nice.
stand a few years of cold snow. I'll
You
tell
want
you
you
that.
want to get the four seasons.
Yeah, I would love all four seasons instead of summer, less hot summer, cold fall, and less hot summer and summer again.
All right,
That's
all
what we
right.
got. We get 3 summers and a cold fall.
There you go. All right. So I think those are all four achievable things, and maybe moving might be. I don't know if that's too much, but it sounds like a good goal for you guys to have. Um, if I met you in person, and I hope we do actually get to meet, and like I tell all my guests like I would love to meet them and just like hang out.
Hey,
Let's do.
bring me on board for a live studio session.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal. And then we'll start with coffee. Somewhere public and safe. And I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you can't. You got a horror based. I could be Dexter.
Listen, the fact that people are doing that's what I'm saying, man. You never know, especially like you did a horror podcast. It gives a little red flags. But besides that, say if I met you in person, I'm like, hey Evan, it's nice to meet you. I love the content. I'm an aspiring content creator that wants to get started. What is the best advice that you can give me that I can take to start my journey in content creating?
Most people don't like when I tell them this, but lift weights is, and I know it sounds completely unrelated, but let me explain. I was
Damn, that's a
very,
great. You just did a hook on my live.
yeah, I was very skinny until I was 23 years old, and after I'd spent a year lifting weights consistently, I realized how much time I'd wasted. It's not. I mean, it's great to feel stronger. It's great to be stronger. It's great for the health benefits. None of those are the reasons. It's for the mental benefits. As a content creator, as a writer, as an author, most of the best ideas I've had, most of the best clarity, the times of clarity where I've been dealing with something and then I got the solution I needed, was at the gym lifting weights. If not for it's all benefits. There's really no downsides unless you go crazy and start taking gear or something. There's really no downsides. It's all upsides. The only potential downside is the time, but it's an investment of time because of the clarity you get back from it. That's what I would say. When I'm having problems, I go to the gym. When I'm trying to figure out a solution, go to the gym. It is a mental exercise for clarity and for understanding. I would tell somebody to lift weights. If they're already doing that, then you can get into the weeds and the other stuff. You can get into, okay, well, learn search engine optimization. Learn get really good at thumbnails. Or really the best piece of advice if you're already lifting weights is get started. The sooner you get started, the better. Fail. Get comfortable with failing. A little mantra I like to tell people, I try to live by this, is failure is not a noun, it is a verb. I came up with that actually. Something I can't stand is when people say something is a failure or someone is a failure or they feel like a failure, because not only is it just not good for you to say that, it's also definitively incorrect. Failure is not a noun. You cannot be a failure. You can fail. It's an action you can do, just like you can succeed. You can fail, but that just means next time you have another opportunity of success. So that would be my next piece of advice: is get as many of the failures out of the way as you can. You're gonna suck at first, so just go ahead and be okay with it and suck, and also be okay with starting fresh. Be okay with screwing projects up, throwing them away, getting started again, and just go from there. Just keep going until something works.
When I hear the word fail, I don't believe in fail. I don't think people fail. I don't think it's like you said. I don't think it's possible for people to actually like to yes, but like to be a failure. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't when I mess up on something, or like I didn't do it right, I just go, oh, I didn't fail, I just learned. I learned a lesson. I learned something from that. It's a teachable thing, and that is the beauty of it. If you look at it like that, I feel like, especially with content creating, it gets easier. Okay, oh man, I like how you said, you was like, oh, I didn't have my mic on. Okay, yes, you didn't get those three
Wow.
to four hours of beautiful, majestic voice that you have, but you might next time you might say, okay, hold on, real quick before I start. You take a second to be like, I checked my mic, it's on, or you prepared a little bit differently. Like you learned something from that experience that made you better in the long run. It's never about failure. It's always about learning from the things that you made a mistake about that you can always correct and make it better in the future. That's just one.
Well, that particular that was over a week, and I'm still bitter about it. But yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep clicking on my fault.
No, it's fine. I remember the day after it happened, and then the day after, I was thinking those things to myself. I was like, okay, it happened. You learned. I went in. I changed the settings on my OBS to try to make it harder to accidentally do that next time.
Mm-hmm.
I optimized some stuff. I was like, okay, see, you lived, you learned, happened, and even telling myself those things that I knew were true, I was still pissed off. So sometimes you just gotta accept that the little mantras aren't going to be enough. You're just
you're telling me. I think the number one thing I learned about talking to you out of this whole hour is one word. Can you guess that one word?
Perseverance.
Yeah. Yes. In a way, yeah. Like discipline. Like if you are disciplined in whatever you put your mind to, you can achieve a lot of the goals that you have. Like, how you said, like with this, like your morning routine, that's discipline.
Oh, yeah.
Like going to, like when you have a problem, like it's a mental thing. It's a mental, like
Yeah.
a lot of people don't succeed. I was going to use the word fail, but a lot of people don't succeed is because they let their mentality or their mind take over and say like, no, that loser mentality of like, I can't get this accomplished. I can't do this. I can't do this. I told I'm treating my daughter of we don't say can't in this album. We don't say that doesn't exist because then if you already start thinking that, you won't be able to do that. So yeah.
Those darker mentalities are poison, and they will.
100%.
They're addicting too. They're not just poison; they're an addicting poison, and they will rule your life and kill you slowly. They're like time parasites, is what they are. Those mentalities, the self-doubt, the convincing yourself of these dark things about yourself. They're like little time parasites that latch onto you and siphon all of the potential time you could be doing good things away from you to keep you like slumped over, doing things you know you shouldn't be doing, wasting your time. They're just good. Stay away from them.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, I think that's the beautiful thing about this episode. So I hope people do find the time to watch this and actually listen to a lot of the beautiful things you've said. I said beautiful a lot because it's literally like your voice
beautiful,
is great.
horrific podcast.
100%. Final thing I want to ask you is there anything stuttering? Is there anything you would like to tell our audience that is listening right now or is listening in the future? Basically, the floor is yours to end the beautiful whisper so far. I'm going to stop saying beautiful. I promise.
It's a beautiful word. Is there anything I would probably say things are often not as serious as you probably think they are. And it's a good thing that you think they are. It's a human instinct. It's a human reaction to take things seriously. It's a survival mechanism. But the fact of the matter is that most of the time, things are not as insane or intense or as life-threatening. Like all of the things that are frustrating you or that you're dwelling on or distracting you, they're probably not as intense as you're thinking they are. And you should probably, I use the term pearl clutching a lot. You try not to do that. You got to try to relax. If it's not bringing you closer to your goals, you need to move away from that. It's probably not that serious. Get your life together. Like you said, be disciplined. Try to, you don't have to swap your entire lifestyle around tomorrow. Just try to eat a little cleaner. Just try to go. You don't have to go to the gym for 4 hours. Go in for 10 minutes, lift a couple weights. It's not that big of a deal. Doesn't have to be the end or the beginning of the world. Just keep trying, keep pushing. You'll get there eventually. It's not a race.
Amazingly said. I had to change up the word because I wanted to say beautifully, but I told myself not
Hey,
to.
the best horror is beautiful.
Yeah, 100%. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 59 of Whispers of Horror with my awesome guest, Evan Prince. Thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thanks for having me.
It was amazing time speaking with you, and I hope that if you ever interested to do future episodes, I would love to have you on to actually talk more horror, but just other topics as well, if you're down.
Sure, anytime, anytime.
Bet. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, even a whisper can be scary.